From the studios of Staten Island Community Television, you're watching In the Bleachers, the TV show for the world's most passionate sports fans. Hello, everyone. I'm Jaime Hixson, joined by my dear friend on the phone.
The hottest, the baddest, sexiest man on cable access TV. Yours truly, the man of the hour with the power, Hector Bosa. We can talk about baseball. We can talk about hockey. Heck, we can even talk about soccer.
Yes, we can.
But the problem here is the draft is exploding. Jamie, take it away, because I'm sure you know more than I do, but a lot of Knicks fans are very disgusted because all this chatter of what I read, that they may have a chance to get this guy, that they have a chance to get that guy, they may have a great chance of getting this guy. Unless they get these great guys on a trade, they're not coming, and I think it's because of James Dolan. Do you agree with at least that point?
I think it goes without saying, Hector. The stigma of that...
It's not the team that's bad. The team is not bad, and the picks that they've gotten with Miles McBride and all them other guys that they can't come up with, very good players. They're not crappy players at all. They're very good players, and if they pan out the way the media has been talking about them, in about 2 years, they're going to be elite players, especially with McBride. They have high hopes for McBride and Grimes there.
Yeah. Those two are the ones that wound up having their rights traded to the Knicks. For the record, they actually got drafted by other teams. For example, Quentin Grimes was originally drafted by the Clippers, but then had his rights traded to the Knicks.
Yeah, for the 25th pick. He was the 25th pick. The Knicks had 19 and 20. They got 25 and someone else and some money. And they got one pick for next year, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So lay the groundwork, son.
Well,
Tell me, am I right? Am I wrong? I mean, people got to figure that is James Dolan the reason why the Knicks don't want to come, because of previous problems that you've had with MSG. Even though James Dolan has done nothing last year, he didn't speak or anything. The only thing he did wrong, I think, last year was because that was COVID year. But the year before, he threw out fans because they started saying that the New York basketball team stinks and all that, and he got offended by it. Mr. Paper got offended by it.
You know what? That's his problem. I'm not even going to dwell on that idiot any longer. But free agency actually started roughly an hour ago, and you would not believe the flurry of activity that wound up taking place mere seconds into the start of some wheeling and dealing. You still there?
Yeah. Chris Paul, 4 years, $120 million.
Mm-hmm.
Norman Powell, 4 years, $80 million. Portland.
Mm-hmm. How about Steph Curry? 5 years and $245 to $250 million with the Warriors.
Continue. I mean, there's a lot more players out there that are raking in the money.
Well, Trae Young got a nice little extension with the Hawks, 5 years, $170 million. And we mentioned Lonzo Ball. He wound up agreeing to a sign-and trade with the Bulls, which means...
Now, his father must be mad because he wanted him to play for the New York Knicks.
You know what? I'm glad that Lonzo Ball has a head of his own, which can allow him to make any decision that he wants.
That I'm glad for, but I'm angry because, like I said, you got to separate James Dolan from the team. The team is a good team. It's a very good team. Is it the greatest? No. Is it the worst team in the world? Not anymore. They've improved last year and the year before. They're letting the kids grow. And you have to remember that they have become elite. I mean, they haven't become elite players yet, but they have high hopes for them. I mean, they're not a bad team. They're not really that much of a bad team. They got good pieces there. It's just that, again, that's why I think people are mad too, because, as I reiterated before, they got so much cap money, and the media has been speculating all this time, oh, the Knicks have a shot for this guy, the Knicks have a shot for that guy. And I've talked to you about this before, and that is that the players have a tendency to use New York as a
stepping stone
because they have the most money.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why they use them against them, just like any other New York team, New York Yankees, New York Mets, Islanders, and Rangers. They know they can afford more money, and all they got to say, well, I'm going to New York because I'm damn sure now that they're going to give me the max money or whatever. Do you want to pay me enough money to come close to it? And they'll go, okay, yeah, no problem. Now, CP3
re-signed with the Suns, and he's also undergoing wrist surgery in a little bit.
And
but he should be ready for camp. Go ahead.
The biggest trades the biggest re-signs that we've had so far is Alex Burke and Noel Novell.
Who?
Those are the biggest trades the biggest drafts, or the biggest free agents so far that we've gotten.
Well,
because they wanted them back. Now, my question to you is, does Carmelo Anthony come back, or does he go to the Lakers?
If he really wants to win a championship, he goes to the Lakers.
I agree because I'm telling you, the Nets have the elite 5-team super all-stars, or 4-players all-stars.
And I just saw the story. They did re-sign Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel after all. Both got 3-year deals.
Yeah. Okay,
I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, Nerlens Noel had a very solid season. Alec Burks had a very good season for the Knicks.
Yeah. Now, who's out there that they may get? Is it DeRozan still out there, or did he sign with the Heat?
DeRozan, from what I understand, is getting interest from the Lakers, and he's also getting interest from
Knicks.
He's also getting interest from the Knicks. That's true. But let me tell you, if I'm the Knicks, I would steer clear of DeMar DeRozan. He has
Why?
For one, he doesn't shoot the three-pointer. For another, he's very, very shaky defensively. And number three, he's undersized. He's only about 6'1" or 6'2". I mean, he can score the basketball, but he cannot shoot the three whatsoever.
Yeah, but again, he's still an elite player. It's just like having Ben Simmons.
No,
you know what Philly wants for Ben Simmons?
The sun, the moon, and the stars.
4 number 1 draft choices and an all-star player. Four number 1s and an all-star player. Now, with Ben Simmons, I could see them trying to get an all-star player because he's been an all-star for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a bad player. It's just that he can't shoot for beans. but he's very good at the position that he is. He's good. I mean, if you're an all-star, unless things have gone down, what do you think about that?
To be quite honest with you, man, I don't really expect that much out of it.
But do you think that Philly will get the players, the 4 number ones and the all-star player?
4 number 1 draft picks. They'll be lucky if they get 1 number 1 draft pick. Asking for 4 first-round picks is really, really, really asking for too much.
I can see them getting at least probably 2 number 1s and probably 2 number 2s and probably or 2 number 3s. Because remember, this kid is an all-star player. He's got size.
Mm-hmm.
And he does distribute the ball well.
Yes, he is. He's a very good passer, but he is a very, very shaky jump shooter. I know for sure that he's really lousy from 3-point range.
Oh yeah, that's true. No, that's very true, and you're absolutely right about that. It's just that, what do you think he's worth?
What do I think Ben Simmons is worth?
Yeah.
Definitely not 4 number 1 draft picks, that's for sure.
Okay, what do you think? You're a GM, you want Ben Simmons.
If I'm a GM and I want Ben Simmons, I would be willing to give up 2 number 1 draft picks and maybe a pair of players.
Would you want to? If I'm going to give up 2 number 1s, I want an all-star player back. Because if he's an all-star, I want someone back or someone close to being an all-star. I would want somebody close to being an all-star. And at least two number 1. And if you want to throw in 1 or 2 extra players or some money in, so be it. But I probably would do that instead. I would want an elite player or close to an elite player, and probably 2 number 1s. And whatever else they want to give me. Because, again, what's the about now? What other bombshell is coming out there now?
Well, it's not really a bombshell, but I just saw that the Nets lost Jeff Green. He signed with Denver.
Who?
Jeff Green.
Oh, Jeff Green signed with Denver?
Yeah, for 2 years and $10 million.
Oh, and what's his name? The Nets Cavaliers signed what's his name? The center for $100 million for 3 years.
Are you talking about what is that kid's name?
The guy with the fro.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out because it'll come up. It'll come up because he signed, I think, for 3 years, $100 million. Now the cash, Jared Allen. Jared Allen signed.
He re-signed with the Cavaliers?
5-year contract. 5-year contract, $100 million.
So he signed for 5 years with the Cavaliers.
Right.
Oh.
Now, with the Cavaliers, you don't know what the heck they're doing.
Well,
you don't know if they want to rebuild. You don't know what are they doing.
Well, I know they want to dangle Colin Sexton as part of a trade. They want to trade him away.
Now, that's another one, the next one. But I read that the Colin Sexton is a good player.
He's a good scoring point guard. I mean, don't forget,
very hard.
He if I'm not mistaken, I think he lit the Nets up for 50 points at one point.
Yeah, but here's what I read on one article, and that is he's a very good player. The problem is he's a stubborn player. If you don't play his style of basketball, he'll leave you alone. He'll just leave you.
Mm-hmm.
That was my understanding of the article. Now, I could be wrong. But the way I read it, it seemed like if you don't play my style of basketball, if you're not fair, I'm shooting. But he works hard at what he does. He's a very good hard worker, and he's planning. The sources are either he goes to the Knicks, which I doubt, or he goes to the Chicago Bulls.
Well,
Now,
you can cross the Bulls off the list because now they have Lonzo Ball.
I mean, not Chicago Bulls. I'm sorry, Atlanta Hawks. Carl Sexton going to the Atlanta Hawks.
They already have a point guard. It's Trae Young. And Trae Young got a big contract extension.
But I guess they want Carl Sexton to play point guard, I guess, or shooting guard.
Well, the only way they can bring him in there is if they make him the shooting guard. But I'm not really sure he wants to be a shooting guard.
I mean, Trae Young is a better passer, and I don't understand what the difference between shooting guard and, again, it makes no sense to me because a guard is a guard and a forward is a forward. You know, just because you shoot the ball better, if a person wants you to pass, then that should be your job in learning how to pass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in a tight game, if you can shoot the damn ball, you shoot it.
Yes, this is true.
I don't understand because I would assume that Frazier and Monroe and all them other guys can pass and shoot. And I've said this before in the past as well, which is, former Nets Jeff Green agrees to 2-year, $10 million deal with Nuggets.
Yeah, I just announced that a few moments ago.
Oh, man.
That's a big loss for the Nets because Jeff Green gave them height, he gave them defense, he gave them hustle, and he gave them a voice in the locker room that other veterans could respect.
And Kyrie Lowell has a no trade deal.
Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, Kyle Lowry has a no trade deal with the Heat.
Tell you what, Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler in the same backcourt with the Heat. That's a dangerous duo that you're gonna have to try to stop.
And Miami has a nice team too. If you really look at it,
yes, they do.
Next week we should figure out all the players on each team and just rate them. Like the Lakers, after all this mess goes off, next week we can rate the teams.
That's another thing that we forgot to talk about. The Russell Westbrook trade. Westbrook got traded to the Lakers.
Yes.
And the Lakers gave up a pretty penny, too. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Kyle Kuzma also.
And that's what come they made. Do you think that they'll keep Schumer since they lost Kyle Kuzma and all them?
Do I think they'll keep who?
Schwimmer.
Oh, you mean Dennis Schroeder?
Schroeder, yeah, not Schroeder. Sorry.
I don't even think the Lakers are going to tender him a contract, to be honest with you. Besides, he was a real disappointment last year. I think they're going to want to move on from him.
According to what I read, he was an improving player. He actually did well considering that when the team needed him, he actually did very well for them.
He also had a lousy playoff against the Suns.
I can see that, too. The Suns are a better team. But Kelly, I can't even pronounce this name. Olynyk.
You mean Kelly Olynyk?
Yeah, Olynyk. He signed 3 years.
He signed with Detroit.
Yeah, $37 million.
Mm-hmm.
And we signed Alec Burks and
Nerlens Noel. Those are the two big free agent signings that the Knicks could come up with. Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks. I mean, I know
away from them.
Let me put it this way. I know we're just roughly an hour and a half into free agency. But if your big free agent signings are the ones that were with the team last year, that's not saying much. They got to come up with a better plan than this. Of course, other teams didn't really help out. I mean,
they did want Noel and Alex Burke. Other teams wanted them. Now, do you think that they'll be packaged off in a deal to get an elite player? Let's say a Niles Turner. Do you think some of these signings are to, give away? Because they're talking about, would you trade Turner for Robertson?
Trading Miles Turner for who?
Robertson.
Oh, you mean
Mitch Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I'll tell you what, Miles Turner has more of an offensive game and low post game than Mitchell Robinson does. But Robinson, he's got this athletic ability that you just can't teach. He blocks shots, he alters shots, he rebounds, he hustles.
And Turner, believe it or not, is very well defensively too. He's just as good, but would you trade him in a package?
Wow.
And who would you give up for him? Because that Lassian kid that New York Knicks got, the lefty, and the center from Texas.
Yep.
6'10", but he's got a 7'2" or 7'3" wingspan.
Yeah.
Oh, and they may have let one of the greatest tenured player of all time let go.
And who would that be?
Frank Nikita. He is the longest tenured player there.
He also had the worst offensive game.
One of the greatest defensive ball players of all time.
Not of all time. Come on now.
Okay. I'll give you that. He wasn't the greatest of all time, but I'm sure some other team will get him.
Tell you what, if he doesn't get a deal somewhere in this country, don't be surprised if you see him go back to France to play professionally.
I mean, the Knicks have done very badly with the French, if you notice.
Yeah, remember Frederick Weiss?
He didn't even want to come here. He didn't even want, unless he started. I remember that, too. He said unless he starts or plays, he doesn't want to be here.
Typical ego.
And, that's hard to say, because if you're saying to the guy, listen, you can play half the game and so on, then you can make it. But I don't know. What do you think of the kid from Texas, the guy that Knicks signed, the 6'10" guy?
Which one are you talking about?
The guy from Texas, the one that Knicks signed. Because the Knicks signed 4 guys. They drafted 4 guys.
Well, the kid that they did draft, Kai Jones, his rights wound up being traded away to Charlotte.
Who?
Kai Jones. His rights were traded to the Hornets.
Oh, here's a good one. Mavericks signing Reggie Bullock. Free agent guard is leaving the Knicks after agreeing to a deal with the Dallas Mavericks.
I'm telling you, this is not looking good for that franchise.
Like I said, the only way the Knicks can come out of this smelling like roses is it's depending upon how they play next year. And hopefully the players that they drafted this year will come out to be better than R.J. Barrett, close to or better than R.J. Barrett. That's the only thing I can think of, because at this point in time,
I see Mike Conley re-signed with the Jazz for 3 years.
Yes. And here's the summer league team for the New York Knicks. You ready?
Yeah.
Quentin Grimes, Tyler Hall, Laughing Kid, Ruckus, Jokubitis.
Never heard of him.
He's the lefty kid from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Knox, Miles McBride, Justin Patton, Emmanuel Quigley, Quentin Rose, Wayne Selden, Amari Simmons, Jericho Simmons. That's the other kid that they picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Obi Tobin, he's the 6'10" center.
Obi Toppin has a lot of work to do if he wants to be a player that's going to have a role with them, because he disappointed in his rookie season.
He signed a 2-way deal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Dennis Robinson Jr., David Robinson II.
Right.
He got a 5-year contract too.
Really?
Yeah. And he wasn't even in the draft or nothing. He just got a 5-year contract. I'm like, damn.
With who?
Oh, Jesus. They said it on the radio when I heard it. I forgot. Damn it. And Rivers, they signed him too. He got a 5-year deal. He went back to his old team, the Suns. Reed Travis, Luca Vandoza, that's the Spain kid, and MJ Walker. Guard, so you got guard, forward. Jericho Simmons, they have him as a forward, but according to where he came up, he was a center. Obi Tobin forward, guard, forward, guard. Damn, how many guards you gonna have on this damn team?
Guard play is leading the way in this sport.
How many guards do the Knicks have? It's 1, 2. The Spaniard kid is 3, and the Latin kid is 4. Alex Burke 5. R.J. Barrett is 6. Emmanuel Quigley is 7.
7 deep.
They have 7 guards.
7 deep at guard, huh?
Yeah, think of it. Quentin Grimes, guard, right? And that guy, Rutgers Titus, who he may go back next year. He may go back. Playing for Latvia. He may go back next year. Well, I mean, this year. He may not play for New York Knicks. Miles McBride is another guard. So that's 3 guards. Right? Justin Patton, he wasn't drafted or anything of that. He hasn't done anything, okay? So I've said so far, Quentin Grimes, Ruckus, whatever his name is, Emmanuel Quigley, Luca Valdoza, that's the Spaniard kid, and where is Miles McBride? Yeah. So think of it. that's about six guards. And even if they play shooting guard and the other guard, so that's 3 apiece. You're 6 guards deep.
Mm-hmm. I keep telling you, guard play is leading the way in this sport. It's not a big man's game anymore. I mean, not to say that they're not useful, but they're not being made the focal point of an offense for a team.
And like I said, Jericho Simmons, they have him here listed as playing forward, but he came up as a center. He's a 6'10", 7'3" wingspan, and they signed him to a 2-way deal. So he's guaranteed to play at least, I think, 50 games in the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to play. He just has to come up for 50 games. So, that being said, what are you thinking about the draft so far?
So far? I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular. Let's put it that way. Very little surprises. Teams were pretty much trying to fill their areas of need. I'll say this much, though. You got to love the attitude that Cade Cunningham showed to the guys at ESPN when he said he wanted to bring back the bad boys. That's going to be music to the ears of Pistons fans in Detroit.
You know, if they can sign Isaiah Thomas.
I'm hearing Isaiah Thomas might go back to the Celtics.
If they can sign him for Detroit, that would be great. Because then you go and say, look, Isaiah Thomas is back with the Detroit.
Yeah, just not the Isaiah Thomas that they were thinking of.
And look at this. DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah. He's drawing interest from the Knicks, too.
The Knicks. Huh?
He's drawing interest from the Knicks, too.
Can you blame them? He's a forward, right?
No, he's a guard. He's a 6'1", 6'2" shooting guard.
Like I said, the only time they'll get anybody big in this league is if they're going to trade someone to get someone.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to want to come to the Knicks. And next year, you know...
Next year is the big free agent crop that's going to be going on.
And that's another thing. If you can't sign nobody this year, do you do a patch-up job? Do the Knicks do a patch-up job, sign people for 2 years, one with an option? I mean, 2 year, but 1 year guaranteed and one with an option. That way, next year, they can pick and choose. If they can't get nobody big this year, then they're going to have to probably do that and hold on the salary cap. And then hopefully, depending upon how they do next year, that's the only way. What do you think of that one?
Well, as far as the so-called patchwork job that you were mentioning, I hope that it doesn't come down to that. Although, after seeing the flurry of activity and looking at guys that the Knicks were looking at going to other teams, Zach Collins is signing with San Antonio. 3 years, $22 million.
Is that a big deal?
It's not a totally big deal. I mean, the Spurs get themselves a big man who can clog up the paint and also alter shots.
All righty then. So now, who's leaving next year? Who's the crop for next year? Do you know At least one or two players.
Let me find that out right now.
Okay, while you're finding that out, I'll talk about, boy, them New York Yankees, them damn trades.
Interesting. Listen to the list of names that are going to be coming out next year. That's if this thing ever loads. John Wall, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. Here we are. Well,
Do you think that James Harden will stay with the Nets?
it's 50-50 at this point. I mean, even though Harden has played terrific basketball for them, he may feel that he wants a deal that's up to his capabilities.
I think if they win next year, he's gone. I think he's gone next year because, again, that's an elite team. You got 4 or 5 All-Stars that are coming there, and then some of them off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the starting 5 is an All-Star team. And didn't I tell you about LeBron? Bron wants what Bron gets, and LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook.
And
LeBron
he got him.
Russell Westbrook.
And he got him.
Damn right. I told you that boy got power.
John Wall, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Kemba Walker, Jimmy Butler, Kyrie Irving, Gary Harris, Julius Randle, Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, Terry Rozier, Goran Dragic, Ricky Rubio, Rudy Gay, Jonas Valanciunas, Thaddeus Young, Patrick Beverley, Joe Ingles, Marcus Smart, Marvin Bagley III, Torian Prince, Yusuf Nurkic, T.J. Warren, Robert Covington, Jeremy Lamb, Josh Richardson, Rodney Hood, Zion Williamson. If I'm the Knicks, if they really want to make a splash in 2022, go after Zion Williamson.
Now, that I can see happen because he likes to play with R.J. Barrett. And Zion Williams has talked about playing under the Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, he said that he liked playing under the bright lights of the Garden the first time he made his way to New York.
And, you know, again, if the Knicks do the right thing, and let's say they get guys for 1 year here, 1 year there, and then they get for the next year. Let's say they do that.
Right.
Who goes to the Knicks?
I want to say nobody because after seeing the flurry of activity in the first 90 minutes, it's painfully obvious that no superstar, not even a marginal player, wants to make his way over here.
The marginal player, that I disagree with. Now, if you're telling me, so the forward, you think that the Knicks don't want to sign their forward? What's his name? I forgot his name again. Damn. The one that
Julius
made the
Randle?
All-Star. Julius Randle, yeah. You think he'll leave?
Unless the Knicks want to sweeten the pot and give him a really, really sweetheart deal, I would say no.
Would you consider, with him in there, the Knicks being a good team, a bad team, a poor team, or an excellent team?
I would consider them an okay team. They're just okay for me.
So it would either be good, very good, or excellent.
Good.
I think that they're very good. They're not great. I think they're very good to good because and Mitchell Robinson next year is gone too.
Yeah.
That's another one. So again, are the Knicks with the team that they have now? Are they that bad that nobody wants to come? If you didn't have James Dolan, let's go by that route for a moment. If you didn't have
From your
James
mouth
Dolan
to
on
God's ears.
that's true too, and I hope it works. If you didn't have James Dolan, I would assume, depending upon who the owner would be, that they would come to New York Knicks. But I agree with you that now, do you agree that the reason why that the elite players don't want to come to the Knicks because of
He's
James
the problem.
Dolan, or do you think it's because of the players?
No, they don't want to be here because of him.
Because what he's done to Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing, all them other people that he's done wrong to.
Face it, man,
And
there's
even
just
to the
too much
fans.
blood on his hands after what he's done.
You know, and I'm sure as the person gets older, because again, you didn't hear from him this year. It's because of COVID.
And it was for the best, too.
Yeah, and they did well. They did well. I mean, with the team that they had, they did well. That's all. You already know where they need their help in. Now let's see if they can get him. Imagine having Zion Williams with R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle.
That would be a pretty decent trio right there.
And Mitchell Robinson.
And Mitchell Robinson.
And if Miles McBride becomes the light Kyle Lowe.
Let's see here.
Or as they like to say, Kyrie Lowe light.
I see Trevor Ariza's back in Los Angeles.
Oh, Trevor Ariza, former Knick.
Yep.
Way to go, Trevor. Ever since you left the Knicks, you've become one of the best players in the league.
One of the best defensive players in the league. He's got a one-year deal with the Lakers.
Exactly. And I think they're going to, again.
And also the Raptors signed Gary Trent. 3 years, $54 million.
I'm telling you. Now, what do you think about the Nets?
The Brooklyn Nets?
Yes.
The Brooklyn Nets are twice as good as the Knicks.
The draft that they picked, the draft picks that they picked.
They actually had a much better draft than the Knicks did.
I don't think so.
Yes,
Why
they did.
would you say that?
Because for one, they filled out areas of need. That's number one.
You think the Knicks didn't with all these damn guards and perhaps forward?
Not really.
The Knicks, they picked 3 guards. And altogether they have 6 guards. And you're telling me that not one of they picked him out quickly last year, and he became an all-star practically. So my point is, if Miles McBride and Grimes is worth what their worth are, and they become another Emmanuel Quigley or an R.J. Barrett, you got a damn good team. And if that Spanish kid kicks in, who's a small forward, he can play small forward too. He's a guard small forward. You have a damn good team if what you read is true. Now, what you read and what you see on TV is 2 different ball games. But the Nets, who did the Nets get?
Who did the Nets get?
Yeah.
Let's find that out right now.
And now that you know next year that they may lose James Harden, Kyrie, and what's this guy's name? Who's leading the Olympics? 66 or so.
Yeah, speaking of the Olympics, there was a shocker that took place at the Summer Olympics just this morning, to be exact, New York time.
Yes, the men's soccer game, the USA men's soccer game. They're actually doing something this year.
Well, you're actually referring to them winning the Gold Cup against Mexico, but I'm talking about the Summer Olympics. Speaking of soccer, the American women denied of a chance at a gold medal because they wound up losing to Canada in extra time. So now
I'm sorry.
Canada is going to play for a gold medal. The United States is going to play for a bronze medal, and it is really, really shocking.
And our former great president, supposedly, Donald Trump, he was glad that they didn't win.
You know.
And why? Because they talked about him like a bad paper on a wet rag. They talked badly about him, and they protested and so on. And again, they're still protesting in the Olympics.
They were expressing their opinion about the man, which
their
is
First Amendment rights. They were doing what they can with their First Amendment rights, and even now, people were getting on this girl that protested. She turned her back when they played the national anthem. There was an uproar about that too.
You know what? Too bad.
With so much injustice. I mean, America is great, depending upon how you use America. But the way they treat minority people and poor people, terrible. We may get what we get because we are better than most countries, and we're worse than some other countries.
Government-wise, we're progressively worse.
We're in the middle because we're like 27th in math or 37th in math and 27th in reading and all. And that's just
That's another problem. We're progressively worse at education.
Exactly, and there's no universal programs such as, they're always talking about the left being liberal. Well, if the left was of socialism, they always talk about socialism, that we shouldn't have socialism. If it wasn't for socialism, we wouldn't have Social Security. That's it. We wouldn't have Social Security if it wasn't for socialism. But again, you have people protesting, but the American gymnasts have done well, even though Simone decided to take a mental break because she's had a lot of problems. And
you know what? Props
life.
to her for being so honest about her issues. I just hope that she is able to bounce back from this because she's a hell of a gymnast, and who knows what's going to happen in 2024 when the Olympics go to Paris. Would we see her there?
She's doing the balance beam. Yeah, she's doing the balance beam this year. She's doing the balance, not the balance beam, the one with the two beams. I forgot. Not the balance beam. The balance beam is the one with the thick, straight one. It's the bars.
Uneven bars, yeah.
The bars. And she's competing in that today. But, we're supposed to be Americans, and, people keep forgetting that we fought for being able to protest. And people even talking about her saying that she's not American because she didn't try and all that. That's ridiculous.
You know,
If you
it
have a
just
mental breakdown
defies
because of what's
logic
happened to her,
what this man has done to damage our country, which isn't really in shambles, but is close to being in shambles.
I mean, think about this. You know, make America great again, but just because they talk badly about you, should you be lower than them, or should you congratulate the soccer team, even though they went against you? But at least you should have said, "Great," because that makes America look great. No, he went lowball and started the other way around. Makes no sense. And then you got people out there not wearing masks because of whatever reason they have, saying that the masks don't work and all that. But with all these variants coming out, I wouldn't be too surprised if there's another lockdown again. Even though they're saying they're not going to be, I wouldn't be surprised. And then you're going to see the same people going, "We don't need masks, we don't need this, we don't need that." And some of those priests and all them other people that are very religious that are going, "We don't need masks, and Donald Trump is God," and all that. Ridiculous. Church is supposed to be about love and giving. Be loving and giving to those athletes, like Simone, like the soccer team, like even the people that protested, because they did it peacefully in the right way. And that's why our founding fathers fought for this, for the First Amendment right. I mean, it makes no sense. But, again, I think it's crazy, but I'm just glad that they're winning gold medals and bronze and so forth, and they have in their time to shine because they work so hard, and other countries pay for them. Other countries pay for them, and this country is the one that says you have to get a job. You have to support yourself, and then hopefully, if you are the elite, then we'll take you. But most of the time, they come out of their own pocket. So, and that's always been that way here. Cuba and some of the other ones, other countries pay for the Olympics. And Cuba had a hell of a boxing team at one point. You couldn't beat Cuba.
Yeah.
But they wanted that famous Cuban, the one that won all Olympics, to fight Muhammad Ali. Oh, wait, here's a big one. Lakers signed Dwight Howard.
Yep, I just got that alert moments ago.
Wow, he went back to the Lakers.
This is his third tour of duty with the Lakers.
The LA Fakers are getting, so the starting the starting five is Dwight Howard at center, LeBron forward, AD at forward, Russell Westbrook at guard, and whoever else the other guard is. That's another super team they have.
Although I'm not too sure that the Lakers would make Dwight Howard their starting center. Maybe their backup center.
No, I think they're going to make him a starting center. They wouldn't get him if he wasn't a starting center.
He was a backup center with the Wizards this past season. Don't forget.
Who?
He was a backup center with the Wizards this past season.
Yeah, but he played. Didn't he play for the Sixers?
No, he played for the Wizards.
Oh, okay. Like I said, the Lakers are boning up to be an elite all-star. And I was reading about this, and I heard about this, too, on the radio, that because of the Nets having 4 or 5 All-Stars on the team. Now the Lakers want to do. Now everybody's trying to compare them to the Nets because they have 4 or 5. They have a real dream team.
There's no comparing them to the Nets. I mean, LeBron is in a class by himself. So is Kevin Durant.
No,
so is Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is probably the closest thing to LeBron. Think about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Different positions, but scoring-wise and so on.
I think KD's the better jump shooter.
Yeah, I'm
LeBron
sure.
is a lot more athletic and powerfully built and a much better all-around player than Durant is.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, All-Star per All-Star, he's an elite player. Kevin Durant is one of the top 10 elite players of this time. And LeBron is one of the damn best players of this era. So, yeah, if you compare people to people, James Harden to Russell Westbrook, or Kyrie Irving to Russell Westbrook, and then you got James Harden, compare him to whomever, and then you got the forward, the other AD, to whoever the Nets have. That's a solid 5 that the Nets, and Blake Griffin coming off the bench. I think he may be free agent too this year. But if the Nets sign him, the Nets are favored to win next year. Because Milwaukee Bucks, give it to them, boy. Give it to them. You got to give it to them.
Oh, the Bucks were terrific.
But what do you say about how? What is it that you're enjoying about the free agency? What is it that you're enjoying about sports right now?
What I'm enjoying the most is the fact that it's happening so quickly. I mean, we got one guy signing, and then 5 minutes later, another guy signs a deal. I mean, it's going quickly, just like that.
And, I'm sorry we didn't get to the other, like the Yankees did a great trade.
Oh, yeah, they wound up getting Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo. They added a lot of pop to their batting order. Now, the question is, what's going to happen with their pitching? And the Mets wound up getting Javier Baez. So they're going to make him the shortstop with Francisco Lindor being out with injury. But, again, it's a question of pitching.
And the Mets did get the Yankees did get a pitcher too.
Yes, they did. And he wound up making his debut in the Florida series.
And the Rangers signing the Only Brothers team.
Mm-hmm.
The only brothers that are on the same team this year, that's something. I mean, everybody had a good time this year with free agency, except for the New York Knicks, who got no Alex Burke. But next year, we're going to get them. You'll see. Kevin Durant's going to come to New York Knicks.
Don't count on it.
Zion Williams.
Well, they better hope so. Anyway, it's 20 seconds left until we sign off, so I just want to say thanks to everyone for watching tonight. Thanks to Kenny Graham on the other side of the glass. So for everyone here, I'm Jamie.
I'm Hector.
We'll see you next week. Good night, everyone.
Love you, Nate.